Hey everybody, it's Luch here from TTR Studios, and I've got that story for you. You know it. We've all heard it. Somebody fell. You want to know what happened. You want to know, could it happen to me? Here it is. Let's roll the intro. We don't do intros here, so let's just, I'm right here, all right? I got a big broken wrist for you. I've never broken anything in my life, and it's been tough because I never thought this would happen to me, even though I've seen people posting about it. I've seen the crash groups.
I've seen it all.
But for some reason, there's always just this level of invincibility. Like, I'm a good rider. I've been riding for 3 years. Anyway, so let me tell you exactly what happened. I've been riding one wheels forever, since they came out, basically. And then, I've got a snowboard background. I played baseball as a kid. I played all the sports, basketball. I've just fallen and used my wrists as a musician as well my whole life. I have fallen on a one wheel probably 50 times, 50 different separate times. And every single time I got scraped up, I got banged up real good. I've got some real road rash, but I've never broken anything. On the EUC, however, so what happened was my one wheel XR died in February of 2021. Or March. And so once that happened, I basically haven't ridden since. And so I have an EUC. It's a V11 from Inmotion, and it's got suspension. It goes up to like 32 miles an hour. This thing is badass. So when my one wheel went kaput, tried to get it working, couldn't figure it out. And basically I just started riding around on an EUC for the rest of my riding. So for about a year straight, I rode only EUC. And that Inmotion V11, let me tell you something, folks. It's badass. It's awesome. And I never thought I'd want an EUC over a one wheel. I would always prefer to be sideways like I'm on a board instead of forward like I'm rollerblading or skiing. That's just me. However, there's something about the power of that EUC, man. You guys are all starting to feel it now with the GT, I'm guessing. I haven't ridden a GT yet. But I just know the feeling once you get on something that's more powerful than the one wheel, and you're like, oh, well, this is what it's like when the equipment is made to like really hold me up, and it's got more than enough juice to, keep me not only upright, but, at higher speeds too. People been posting like 32 miles an hour on this EUC. I went out and tested it. I got up around 28, and that was about as fast as I wanted to go when I first got it. Now, fast forward through this year of me riding just an EUC, I got really good at it. And I didn't realize how much better I had been getting at it until about a month and a half ago. I went to a local trail, like a single track, like way out in the woods. It's in Lake Reston here in Northern Virginia, and it's like 11 miles of trails in the woods, and it can get pretty technical. Like, there are some real hard routes, some rocks, some places where it's like just rocks that you need. It's like a mountain biking trail that's also designated for e-riding. And it's not enjoyable with a one wheel, at least an XR. I never tried a GT there, but it's just, I've tried taking some friends there when I was on my EUC or on my e-bike. It's a blast on those things because those smaller bicycle type wheels with the power of either the e-bike or an EUC, you can get over any route. You can get over any rock. Like, there's really nothing that can stop you. On a one wheel, it's just not the case. You all know what I'm talking about. If you're going a little bit slowly and you come up on a route, like, you're just not getting over the route. You're just going to dump. And so it's really not an enjoyable ride previously on a one wheel. And so I hadn't kind of gone back there in a while. And then here we are a year later. I've been riding just the EUC, and I went back into the trails. Oh, my God. I don't even know what to say. Like, you remember that first time you hopped on a one wheel and it clicked and you really started feeling that freedom and you're just screaming like a kid because you just want to share that feeling with anybody who can hear you or see you? You're just like, woo! You're riding around. Oh, man. I remember that feeling, and I had that feeling when I went back into the trails on the EUC because I was so much better than I had been previously. And man, I was flying around on these butter smooth dirt trail parts. And then when it got to the roots, I was crushing over them because I was just real comfortable. And so what happened was I'm getting to the crash. Believe me, it's just, this is all leading up to it. I got super confident. I, in that moment, fell in love with riding again, not only on the EUC, but just in general. Just it felt like having a jetpack on, flying through the woods, going through the berms and the pump track part of it, and there's some jumps in there, and oh man, I just had so much freaking fun. So I got bit by the bug. So about 3 days later, I thought to myself, with all these people with the GT firmware upgrade and saying how much better it was, I was like, I wonder if the V11, the EUC, I wonder if that's got a firmware upgrade. Let me do some work on my wheel. So go figure, it did have a firmware upgrade. I haven't even turned on the app since I've been riding. I've only ridden for like 400 miles. But like, you turn on the app and it's like firmware upgrade ready. I'm like, oh shoot, okay, well let me do that. So I upgraded the firmware. And then I went and watched this YouTube video of a guy who sets up his V11 and tells you the exact PSI that you need in the suspension and also the wheels. I think that was the beginning of the end for me, because what happened was he had mentioned if you fill your tires up too high, you might get more speed wobbles. Now, if you don't know what speed wobbles are, you're at a certain speed, unless you have a perfectly round wheel, which after riding 20 miles, pretty much nobody does, things happen to your wheel, things happen to your wheel, to the axle in the middle. I mean, things just get a little bit off. And if that does happen, when that does happen at higher speeds, you start getting speed wobbles. And the only way to really get rid of them, as I know, is smooth and even weight distribution on one edge of the wheel. So, you know, if you're on a one wheel, you would just go all toe, both feet toe edge, both feet heel edge, and just carve really hard and get that other part of the wobble out of it. You're basically taking out half of the wobble. You're just saying, nope, all right, forget it. I'll just stay on one half of the wheel, get it back to stable again through the carve, and then, you know, slow down a little bit and I'm okay. Well, I had never experienced speed wobbles on an EUC, but I did listen to the guy and he said not to do it too high, so I didn't do it too high. I think I put the PSI at like 24, 25. I go out to go hit that trail again, and when I get there, it's just a little bit too wet. Shit. So I'm like, all right, well, why don't I go hit some side quests? So I just went down to the WO&D trail, and as soon as I found something I hadn't really done before, I was like, let me do this. What happened was I was on a bike path, like the side of the road, the path, the walking path. I was just kind of cruising on that. And next to me was the road, which was a one-lane, 35-mile-an-hour twisty road through like the trees and stuff. Well, once I got to a certain part of the path, and I'm talking like 2 miles down it, it just stopped. It turned to marsh. There's no walking through it. There's no walking to the other side. There is no other side. It just stopped. I'm like, the hell? So I had two options at that point. And remember, I'm out and exploring, and I was planning on hitting the trail. So I was wearing a full motorcycle jacket, full enduro helmet. I had a wrist guard on this wrist only, because I could only find my right one. Riding glove, like a motorcycle glove on my left hand, and pants and a backpack. So I had two choices. I could either turn around and go backtrack about 2 miles and then go home. I was like, I don't want to do that. I could just climb out at like 6 feet out of these woods, and I'm on the road. It's 35 miles an hour, but I only have to go like half a mile, and I'll come up to some stuff where there's sidewalks and things. So like, I'll be fine. Well, I don't know if it was the new firmware. I don't know if it was the new tire pressure. But as soon as I got to about 22 miles an hour, it was twisty roads, right? So it was like twisty roads going up and then twisting down. And as soon as I came down, I got speed wobbles worse than I have ever gotten on anything. And it wasn't like they just went from 0 to 100. They started happening 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I mean, it was just progressively getting worse. And I started thinking to myself, oh, speed wobbles, need to clear them. All right, get on one side. That's it. By that amount of time, that was all the time I had, because it was like speed wobbles. Oh shit, they're getting worse. Oh shit, I got to bail. And that's what happened. Because if I'm on a one-lane road and somebody comes around that bend at 35 miles an hour and I get ejected onto their side of the road, I'm dead. So I didn't want to wait until I got ejected from this thing that was progressively getting worse with the wobbles. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it just went from like smooth butter to like I mean, I was like, holy shit. So I kicked it out in front of me. Now, what you probably don't recognize as a rider who's never been on an EUC, when you're on a one wheel, the tendency is to go forward. You Superman. You don't typically kick it out in front of you and fall on your back. That's not super common. You usually nosedive and go forward. Momentum stops and you go forward. This, or you kick it out and you like to your toe side and you jump back heel side. This one, when you're going at about 20 miles an hour and you have to decide, do I dive forward and try to... There is no dive forward. Your brain doesn't think that way, because if you were to do that, the wheel would be going under you and you would dive right on top of it. Think about that. If you're on a 20 mile an hour wheel, it's just one wheel and it's not nosediving or anything. It's still going. It's just starting to wobble. If you try to jump forward at 20 miles an hour, you're just going to land on top of it. So your brain naturally kicks it out and then lands on your back. Now that's what I did. And as soon as my wrist hit, and I had a wrist guard on, but as soon as my wrist hit first, bam, just smash. I broke that entire piece of the bone. And so here's a picture of it. Here's another x-ray of it. They threw a plate in there. And that whole thing right there is a plate with some like 4 or 5 screws going in through the bone. It's pretty badass, but yeah, this is a warning. Here comes the picture of the stitches. Look away for the next 5 seconds if you don't want to see. And there they are. Yeah, that's the afterwards. That's after the surgery. That's after the 2 weeks in a splint. And now you can look back. Here I am. I'm just, healing up. I'm out of the splint. It's been a month since the accident. I can wiggle. I can do about this far. I can't really ride a throttle like an e-bike yet. But this is where I'm at. And it's been detrimental to me. It's my right hand. I'm right-handed, so now I've had to learn to do everything left-handed, which was rough. But, I'm a wedding DJ. I don't work at an office where I can just show up in a cast. And nothing against office workers, but like your body isn't super dependent on you earning money. You just got to be there, or you just got to be able to work in front of a computer or whatever. But no, I mean, like for me, I'm carrying speakers. Or I had to literally work 3 different weddings, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, after breaking it on a Wednesday. So that was crazy. Then I had 3 weddings the next weekend. Then I had surgery. Then I had 4 weddings, and then I got it off. So the cast. It's been nuts. But the funny part of the story is that, like, the way that it happened, because I kicked it out, I fell, I broke it. I knew immediately when I fell that it was broken. And I consider myself a good rider. I really do. But I just, I've never had those speed wobbles like that before, where they were getting to the point where there was no way of saving them. And it happened within 2 seconds. So it just became a choice of bail or let it eject me and hope it doesn't send me over the yellow lines. I bailed. And so luckily I didn't have to cancel any weddings, but I did have to cancel about $1,000 worth of me playing piano from cocktail hours and stuff. I had some add-ons that I do for couples that I wasn't able to do. I had to give them their money back and then make sure that, we had the right music playing for them in a playlist, but I couldn't play piano anymore, which is huge for me. Like, I need to be able to offer these things to my clients. And you think it can't happen to you, but there I am laying on the side of the road, and the lady behind me, she's just like, you need to get in my car. She's got her 13-year-old daughter in the back. I was like, I think I'm okay. And I'm totally in shock, and she knows it. And she's like, you need to get in my car. Let's take you to an ER. And I'm realizing at that moment, oh man, it's either this or an ambulance, and that's going to bankrupt me. So I got in her car. She took me to the ER. And there we are. And I'm basically 2 hours there in the ER. And then I had to go to another place to get it set. And she stayed the entire 2 hours with me. We're having lunch in a week. I'm very excited. We're supposed to have lunch next week. Sweetest lady. Jenna, shout out to you. Thank you to you and your daughter. She called her husband, who was on his way home from work, and he was like, hello? She's like, we found a guy on the side of the road. We're taking him to the ER. His response, did you hit him? She's like, no. We're just taking him to the ER. We'll be back. I need you to come meet me at this hospital so that you can take our daughter home, and then I'll be with him until his parents get here. Funniest part of the story is that as soon as I fell, I immediately had to drop a deuce. I don't know what happened, but something started bubbling in my stomach. I think it was just a hard boom of everything. And I mean, while she's taking me, I'm like literally like sweating in the back of her car. Like, oh my God, I'm not even thinking about the pain. I have to take a dump so bad. And I told her, drop me at the front of the ER because I don't know what happened, but right now I'm gonna shit myself. She's like, it's okay. You find a bathroom. I'll come find you. And of course, there's a bathroom, but it's like right by the front door. So I'm in there. It's one little bathroom, and she walks in. I can hear her right outside the door, and she's like, "Hello, I came here. I dropped off a man with a motorcycle helmet." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in here." 5 minutes later, I'm trying to clean up, left-handed with a broken right hand. I got no idea how to do this. I'm trying to figure. I'm like, "Ah, oh God." She can hear me the whole time. She's like, "Do you need any help?" I'm like, "Oh my God, no. I'm good. Thank you for being here. This is my nightmare." Like, this has just been living my life left-handed, trying to make earn my living one-handed. It's been rough, and it's making me really think, can I keep doing this? Because I'm in a position, maybe not like you, but if you're like me, where you need your body and you need your health in order to earn an income. I'm so lucky that it was just this wrist and I was able to keep working. I mean, if it was a broken leg or something, if it was something worse, and I had to give money back to these clients, that, I mean, I don't even know what I would do. But I found out my insurance is a piece of shit and won't cover it. I apparently signed up for I even got a thing in the mail that said that it was worded incorrectly and confusingly, so I can choose a new option up until July 15th. But regardless, because of that, it doesn't matter. They still don't cover it. And I owe 100% of this, which is up to $20,000, they told me. I'm still waiting for the bill in the mail, but they told me to be prepared for about $20,000. So that's where I'm at. That's the story. I don't want it to happen to you. I'm not going to start a GoFundMe. I'll figure it out. I just, shit, man. You got to think about this kind of stuff because I don't want to spread anti-stoke. I love riding these things. It's really bringing me down to think maybe I can't anymore because I was wearing a wrist guard and it still broke. I'm a really good rider and I still fell. Really confident and can get out of many situations, pretty much anything. But it just takes one, and here we are. So I just wanted you to think about it. I wanted you to know the story. I'm sure you'll be fine, and I want you to enjoy your ride. Just remember that this stuff can happen, so please gear up and prepare for the worst, or the worst is going to happen. All right? Good luck to you. I hope to see y'all soon out there, and I appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe if you can do that. That would certainly help. Share this, and do your best out there. All right, everybody? I miss you. I'll see you soon. Later.